Welcome to Your Inner Power with Krista. This podcast is for the deeply intuitive ones, the curious ones, and the ones who follow their own path and embrace their uniqueness. We'll chat about all things spiritual, life's adventures, and always go back to deep self-trust because it's all within you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. We are on episode 13, and it's going to be the second to last episode for the year. I have been doing this for quite a few months now, since mid-July, I believe. I just have found so much fulfillment in this podcast, and I love putting out these episodes, and I know that whoever is meant to listen to these is exactly who will listen to them. So thank you for being along this journey with me and listening and taking in exactly what you need from my words and from whatever it is that I'm bringing through in each of the episodes. I truly, truly appreciate you. Today's episode is going to be all about my grandmother and our deep, deep connection, and how our connection transcends time, and that our connection is so much more. It goes so much further beyond this current incarnation. My grandmother passed last month, and there has just been so much that has transpired even before her passing that has shown and revealed to me how deep our connection really is. And I'm going to be really honest with you. Thinking about recording this podcast felt really right. Like, it feels so right for me to share and to fully share and be very vulnerable. But I also felt my conditioning come up of, well, keep quiet and don't share everything and be private. But I know that that is not helping anyone else, because the point of this episode is not to well, my grandma is a wonderful person, but the point of the episode is not to tell you how wonderful of a person my grandmother is. It goes far beyond that. It's for you to take away what you need to take away from this episode to relate it to your own life, to your own deep connections with your loved ones. For you to know and trust that your loved ones who have passed, or your loved ones who are extremely ill and may not be able to express to you what they are feeling, that they are connected to you and you're able to connect with them and you're able to speak with them and you're able to have a connection that transcends this physical experience. So I know that this is meant to be shared, and I move through that conditioning and I just notice it and I observe it and I look at it and I go, okay, thank you very much, but I am choosing differently. I feel it's important to throw that piece in there because we're all human and those things come up, and our past comes up, our conditioning comes up. And this is just an example of how I can move through it and choose differently. So where do I even start? I don't even know, but I'll just kind of give you a little bit of background starting from my childhood. My grandmother was like a second mother to me. My mom worked full time when I was young, and my dad was working as well. So they would drop me off with my grandparents, and I would hang out with my grandparents all day, every day. I have so many beautiful memories of being with my grandmother and her cooking for me and us just being together and connected. And what's funny is she used to say, even like up until maybe like a year ago, she would say like, I remember you when you used to knock at the door early in the morning with your suitcase and your curly hair. She said like that would light her up because she knew that she could spend the day with me. It just warms my heart to even think about. But basically, as a child, I spent a lot of time with her. She watched my brother and I, and she also watched other family members. And we were just a very close knit family, which was so, so beautiful. And I really cherished that time and my childhood. And she was like really the glue that kept it all together. Even through my teenage years, I was so connected to her, like always chatting with her, always receiving her wisdom. She was someone who would always just drop nuggets in of deep, deep wisdom, always give you such incredible advice that would just shift your perspective in a second. She was always able to look far beyond what she even understood. Like, even as an older woman, she understood things that it's just honestly, it's incredible. Like, when I quit my job, my corporate job, she just got it. Like, there was no like, Krista, why don't you make sure that you have more safety? Make sure you have X amount of dollars. She's like, yeah, I support you. Do whatever you want. She had my recipes bookmarked on her phone. She would tell all of her friends about what I was doing. She always told you to like really reach for the stars. And she always deeply believed in me. And it was just honestly pure unconditional love. There is no other way for me to describe it. She just was able to hold space so deeply, and you didn't have to explain anything to her. She just got it. We had this very special unspoken bond. I want to tell you a really beautiful story that happened quite recently. I was having a breakdown, to be honest, in the shower the other day. I was just really sad and I was in grief, obviously. I just called upon her and I just asked like, what could I do in this moment? Like, what can I do for myself? I want to feel that connection with you right now. Can you show me? Show me. I felt the nudge to listen to her voicemails. Obviously, that's going to bring up a lot of emotion. And I could feel my human be like, no, 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 don't listen to the voicemails because that's just going to make you more sad. But my intuition overrided that. I allowed myself to listen to the voicemails because I felt a ping and it was right after I asked her for guidance. So I listened to the voicemails and they were so healing. And yes, of course, they brought up a lot of emotion, but just to hear her voice and to listen to the things that she was saying in the voicemails, I'm so thankful I have those voicemails. So many incredible nuggets of wisdom, even in the voicemails. But the magical part wasn't even about the voicemails. After I listened to the voicemails, I felt the nudge to look at my WhatsApp with her, our WhatsApp messaging. So I opened the app, I started to go through the messages, and I found a message from when she learned that I was quitting my corporate job. And she messaged me that my mom told her what I was going to do, that I was going to quit. And she said, Krista, I support you always. I am with you. And freedom is beautiful. And maybe one day I'll come work for you. That hit me really, really hard for a couple reasons. Because when she was passing, I felt the need to keep telling her, like those lines, I'm with you, I support you, just kept coming in, which is exactly what she said to me when I made that pivot. Also, she talked about freedom, which is something that she brought in, which I'm going to mention later on. I'm going to give you some more context later on. Something that she brought in multiple times. And it was a clear message for me that I was supposed to receive. And she said that then. And she said, maybe one day I'll come work for you. Right then, I knew she's working with me. Like, that hits me hard. And that part makes me want to cry because she's really working with me right now in what I'm doing, and not only sharing this podcast episode. It's not this podcast episode. It's I know that she's extremely involved in my spiritual work and in my mission here on earth and in just the way I show up in my life. We're so deeply intertwined. And I just thought that was an incredible answer to what I asked her when I was just like, I need something. I need something. I was just blown away by the clarity of being called to WhatsApp and finding this message because I didn't even know I had this message. Like I knew that she supported me through the transition of quitting my job, but I didn't even know I had a message. I had completely forgot about that. So I think you understand that we were quite close and I saw her very, very often. Even when I went to college, every time I came home and visited, I would always see her during my time and my grandfather as well. And when I moved away, I moved about an hour away from home with my husband. We always made time to go there and we always made time to see her and my grandfather when he was alive as well. She became sick in the past couple years and she wound up not being able to stay at home anymore because she couldn't take care of herself. So she moved and I have went to see her basically weekly since then. It's weird now not doing that every weekend because it was such a ritual that we would do, that we would go see her. But I am so thankful for the past couple years and even in the difficulty of her being ill and not being fully herself, I am still so thankful for every freaking moment, even the really hard moments. This experience has taught me so much about being there for someone even when they can't fully show up as themselves and being able to hold space for someone in that way. And she has given me a lifetime of gifts just through her presence. I want to share a little bit about how she has been preparing me for her transition for quite some time, which is very interesting. It was an extended period of time. It wasn't just within the last couple weeks of her life, it went far beyond that. She told me about the Rainbow Bridge. She pointed outside the window and said that there's no reason to be scared because we never die. I took that as she was shown how to possibly exit her body or shown maybe a glimpse of what's beyond and that she will be headed there, which I thought was really interesting. And I think maybe she had some preparation. Maybe there was some fear that she had to work through before she actually passed. Another thing that happened was that she began to say libertà to me very often. It was from one of her favorite songs, Libertà, an Italian song, and libertà means freedom. This is also going to tie into that message that I found in WhatsApp. So she would randomly come out and just say libertà to me. And I would just be like, okay, freedom is beautiful, but it didn't really have anything to do with our conversation. So I would just be like, okay, and then we would move on. And then one day, I felt the nudge that there was more meaning to this. And I got the nudge actually on my walk. I was like, I need to look up the meaning of this song, Libertà, and I will read you what I found. One of the meanings is connected to self discovery and breaking free from limitations. It explores themes of courage, overcoming fear, and living authentically. And right there and then, I knew this had to do with our missions. And the craziest, most validating part is that she never said Liberta again after that. Once I got the message, I got the message. Towards the end of her life, she was in tremendous pain. To watch someone that you adore and love beyond words in so much pain was so difficult. And I really felt so helpless because I physically could not take her pain away. So the only thing that I knew that I could do was some energetic work. I knew that I could energetically help her. I decided to do some energy healing. I did this by basically, I pictured our hearts being connected with a cord and me sending her whatever she needed: love, support, vitality, health. And I just said, take what you need. And I just did it really with such great intention. So, what happened after this is so magical. I decided to reach out to one of my wonderful friends who does Reiki. I asked her to do a Reiki session on my grandmother to help with the pain. She receives messages as she does the Reiki, and she told me that when she was doing the Reiki, she saw a cord connecting my grandmother and I that looked like a heart. She saw that deep connection. That was validation that my grandmother felt my energy healing. One of the most potent things that I experienced before her passing was a dream. One of the most vivid dreams of my entire life. The dream was about her passing, and it was her coming to me, her higher self coming to me to let me know that I'm not going to go into all the details, but in the dream, basically, we were at the hospital. I noticed that it was time. She told me it's time. I just understood this and I supported her through it, and she passed. The experience of that, when you have a dream like that, can be kind of jarring, could be a little bit scary because you don't know if it's a literal meaning or it's just a symbolic meaning of some sort. What I took it as was to trust in her timing, that she knows when it's her time to go. She knows when it's her time to go home. So that's what I took it as. And I just kept leaning on that throughout her difficulty. I just kept saying to myself, trust in her timing. She knows, her soul knows. And when it did come time for her to pass, the experience was very similar to the dream that I had. And now, in hindsight, I understand that she was preparing me for that experience. And the experience of her passing was one of the most difficult things I ever experienced, obviously, but it was also one of the most beautiful things. And if you haven't kind of caught on, I was there when she actually passed. Now I look at that dream as a gift. She gave me that dream as a gift to prepare me for what I was going to experience and to help guide her. And what's also funny is when she was in her transition phase, when she had days left, I continued to say, I'm your human guide. And don't know where that came in from. I just kept saying, like, I'm your human guide, grandma. Like, I'm here. I'm going to help you transition from the human side. Like, I know you have your past loved ones, your angels, your own guides and spirit, but I'm here. I'm on the ground here as your human guide. Whatever you need, I'm your human guide. And there was a reason for that. I don't even know if I said everything I wanted to say. There's probably a million more things that I could say, but I just trust and know that whatever came out of my mouth is exactly what is meant to be heard. A few things that I'll just add is that this experience really showed me how we are so connected beyond this incarnation. Like, it's not just in this lifetime, it's beyond that. It feels deep because it is. Our connection transcends time. I know that she is right here, right now, sitting in the chair next to me. I know she's all around me. I just know. It's a deeper knowing than ever before. I know that with a single thought, just me thinking about her, I'm connected to her. There's nothing more that you have to do. When you think about a past loved one, just allow yourself to think about them. Like, think about them and just know. Just know, because they're right there. They're not far away. They're not floating in the sky. They're right there. They're right here with you. And I also wanted to mention that even when people are very ill, our loved ones are very ill, and we may not be able to communicate with them. We can communicate with their higher selves. We can speak to their higher selves. This is something that I leaned into for my grandmother. I also leaned into this for my grandfather, who was also very ill before he passed. And I received so much guidance, so much information. I opened the Akashic Records many, many, many times and called upon her higher self. And I did the same thing with my grandfather as well. So just knowing when we are in the human experience and someone in our lives is very ill or they're passing, it's really hard. Obviously, it's really, really, really freaking hard. But I want you to know that you have the ability to connect with them on a soul level all of the time. So just give it a try. And I'm going to leave it with, I am sending you so much love from my heart to yours, truly with intention as I'm saying this, love from my heart to yours. It's difficult to experience the passing of a loved one. It's so difficult. But what is difficult can be beautiful too. I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Your Inner Power with Krista. If this episode resonated with you, please leave a rating and review. This helps my podcast grow and reach new listeners. You can connect with me on Instagram at Krista Nastu. And if you're feeling called to go deeper, links to work with me can be found below. Until next time, remember, everything you need is already within.